the long gun registry, and it's returned through a backdoor method. And the Liberal government has assigned their top liar, Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino, to promote it. So, just to give some background on this minister, when he was questioned in committee meetings on the invocation of the Emergencies Act last February, Mendicino simply just kept fabricating lies. Worst of all, he gets away with it. Mendicino claimed there was evidence of potential violence, insurrection, and conspiracy of foreign funding for the truckers' convoy that justified suspending civil rights with the Emergencies Act. He never presented that evidence, though. There was a claim made by that convoy participants were responsible for an attempted arson incident in Ottawa. This claim was completely disproven through a police investigation. And even after that was disproven, despite the proof being presented, Mendicino continued his strategy of lies when he told a Commons committee at the end of April that the arson attempt was part of the reason they justified the invocation of the act. A point of order was called, but it doesn't really matter. Mendicino lied, and it's been successfully repeated again and recorded. Mendicino claimed in February that they had evidence of a large amount of foreign funding for the protests. This was disproven. It was found that he was referring to a CBC story on it that had been retracted because it was BS. And then he claimed no less than 11 lies in the House of Commons as he was asked and kept saying that the police had requested the implementation of the Emergencies Act. RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki contradicted this claim. She explained the police never offer such advice. Mendicino shrugs, carries on, it doesn't matter. This latest lie from Mendicino is his most offensive. So when defending the new Liberal long gun registry, Mendicino said that the previous Liberal government long gun registry aided police in apprehending Marc Lépine after the Montreal massacre. Now, to begin with, Lépine blew his wretched evil brains out after he slaughtered the 14 innocent women. The police didn't need any help in apprehending him. Secondly, the gun registry didn't even exist until 1995. That's 6 years after Lépine's crime. Mendicino simply pulled this statement out of his ass, and he used one of the worst tragedies in Canadian history in order to do it. He just doesn't care. So what's going to happen? Nothing. He's been lying chronically for months, years probably in his career. His career is doing just fine, so why stop now? So let's get on to that. Why are the Liberals at this? The Liberals have been trying to take firearms away from law-abiding citizens for decades. The long gun registry from the 1990s was implemented by the Chrétien government and Justice Minister Alan Rock. And it was an expensive, divisive debacle, and it never had any impact on crime prevention. And despite Liberal claims at that time, again, they got a long history of lies, that the registry would cost, about $100 million. Costs ballooned to over $2 billion by the time the program was scrapped. The system was terribly organized and inefficient. It's estimated at some points that they never managed to register more than 60% of the long guns in Canada, even though they were at it for, over 10 years, I believe, and that many of those entries were incorrect. The records in the registry were supposed to be destroyed, but they likely never were. It was evident that the RCMP were using old registry records when they smashed into multiple homes during the 2013 floods in High River and stole people's firearms. It was clear that they've been targeting specific households in their searches, and it's rather tough to do that without some kind of list of where these firearms are. When asked about the issue some years ago, Justin Trudeau said he would never enact another long gun registry. Well, guess what? He lied. The registry's back, and the only difference is they've dumped the onus on firearm owners and dealers. Even if you transfer a firearm to a relative, you're going to be forced to contact the RCMP and register the transaction along with personal information about yourself and the person you transfer to, and of course the serial number of the firearm. That's called a registry, people. All private dealers, they're going to be obligated to record any transactions in full detail with the personal information of the person buying it, and they'll be obligated to provide that information to police at request anytime, even if they don't have a warrant. The Liberals are saying this isn't a registry. What else is it? Of course it's a registry. And it's going to be as expensive and ineffective as the last one. But this is where it gets more sneaky. This is where it gets more odious. Because, see, this time the expense is all going to be put on the private dealers. It's going to be put on the individuals. And it still will be ineffective. So why did they keep pushing on this? Why are they so hell-bent on registering firearms? The answer is simple. They want to steal them. You can't effectively take away people's property unless you know who has it and where it is. A registry is the first step. When the goal is to disarm all law-abiding citizens, a registry is the way you have to go. Rest assured, if and when the government feels confident they've registered enough long guns, they will illegalize and seize them. The Liberals will deny this, and this happened in Australia already, by the way. We've got precedent on this. And the Liberals will deny this when we ask them about it. But did I mention they have something of a propensity for lying. Legally owned long guns barely make a statistical blip when it comes to firearm crimes in Canada. The vast majority of violent firearm crimes are committed with handguns that have been stolen or are smuggled across the border. The Liberal government in Canada is an ideologically driven authoritarian regime. They have no interest in individual rights. Of course, they don't like seeing citizens armed. Not that there's some revolution pending, they just don't like it. The only way to stop these guys is going to be to run them out of office. And I'm unsure if that's ever going to happen because so many Central Canadian voters appear to like being lied to. That leaves the independence option as the last one on the table for the West. But in the meantime, better iron your garden, guys. It's starting to rust.